transport sector, tyres are essential to fuel economy and safety. They're the only point of contact with the road. They're made of rubber, steel and other materials which aren't in infinite supply. Well, retreadable tyres can last more than twice as long as single-life tyres, saving money and helping the environment by using fewer raw materials. But they're being crowded out by cheap foreign imports. So what's the future of retreading as part of the circular economy? Well, let's talk to Guy Hayward, Commercial Director for the UK and Ireland for the French tyre manufacturer Michelin. I'm Sarah Lockett. Welcome to the Business Debate. Guy, welcome to the London Stock Exchange studios.
Really pleased to be here.
Now, very basic question first, just so we know what we're talking about. What are retreaded or regrooved tyres?
Well, the best way to explain it is to do a comparison between a single life imported tyre and a retreaded tyre. A single life imported tyre, you get the materials out of the ground, you manufacture the tyre, that tyre is consumed and then it's disposed of. With retreaded and regroovable tyres, we build an extra value into the tyre so that we can elongate and extend the usage phase to give people much more mileage. So they can regroove the tyre to get 25% more mileage, and then they can retread the tyre, which is effectively rebuilding that tyre to give 100% more mileage. So they're getting 250% of the mileage in comparison to what you would get with an imported single-use tyre.
Now, retreadable tyres are more expensive initially, so why are some hauliers not convinced by your argument that they save money in the long term?
Well, I'm really pleased to say that quite a few large hauliers in the UK and in Europe are convinced. For example, here in London, we have pretty much 100% of all of the buses in London running on Michelin product, and about 50% of the tyres fitted here are retreaded product. It's also fair to say that in the smaller and medium segment customers, there are less people using retread tyres, and it really stems from the fact that we had an economic crisis in our industry in 2008. As a result of that, people started to make purchase decisions about tyres based purely on price. They don't have necessarily the resources to investigate whether they get good value from tyres, so they are making purchase decisions based on price. You can buy cheap import tyres, but they are much more expensive during the use phase of those tyres.
So you mentioned those SMEs, you know, a fleet of maybe 20 trucks or fewer. How can you persuade them? I mean, what are you doing to sort of raise awareness of retreadable tyres?
We've been talking for around 60 years about the merits of retreading and also the merits of regrooving, and we have had some success with the larger fleets. With the smaller fleets, it is a challenge because, as I said earlier, they don't necessarily have the resources to test tyres to find out exactly what value they do deliver. So the challenge for us is to try and get those smaller and medium-sized companies making buying decisions based around total value rather than around just the purchase price.
And you mentioned the cheaper imports, which are the main threat to retreadable tyres. What's been the impact of those imports?
It's been very dramatic, not only here in the UK, but also across the whole of Europe. We've seen 20% of the retread market deteriorate in the last 5 years. We've seen significant growth in imported single-use tyres into our marketplace, and that's led to quite significant impacts for all of the key stakeholders. If we think about the end user, for example, if they're buying single-use tyres, they're paying more in terms of mileage, they're paying more in terms of fuel consumption, and they're also compromising stopping distance and safety factors. If you think about the environment, for every 100 retread tyres that are replaced by single-use tyres, it means an extra 6 tonnes of CO2 going into the atmosphere to manufacture those single-use tyres, an extra 5 tonnes of raw materials. Then there's the social impact. We have 32,000 people working in the retread industry across the whole of Europe, and we've lost already in the last 5 years 3,200 of those jobs, and the expectation is we'll lose a further 6,200 in the next 3 years unless we act to change.
Well, Guy, thank you very much.
Thank you, it was a real pleasure, Sarah.
Well, let's now cross to Michelin's headquarters in Clermont-Ferrand in central France to talk to Antoine Pinault, a Senior Vice President for Research and Development, and Claire Dorland-Clausel, Executive Vice President for Brands and External Relations. Well, let's talk to Claire first. Claire, why is Michelin working towards a circular economy?
Michelin's purpose is to offer a better way forward for people and goods alike. Today, this means safer mobility for all, and moving towards low-carbon products and services that support a circular economy and make optimal use and reuse of Earth-limited resources.
Well, thank you, Claire. Coming to Antoine now. How exactly do retreading and regrooving contribute to a circular economy, would you say?
Well, in fact, it's pretty simple. In fact, Retreading and regrooving allows us to provide the mobility our customer needs while using much less resources. This through three levers. Repairing, which allows us to fix, in fact, issues customers can have during normal use. Regrooving, which in fact will lengthen the life of the tire during its normal use. And last but not least, retreading, that will allow the customers to have a whole new cycle using our tires. These three levers are available to our customers because our tires are reusable by design, which is a fundamental principle of the circular economy.
And is what you are saying really proven?
Yes, in fact, we have been practicing this activity of repairing, regrooving and retreading for decades with customers all over the planet. So we have ample data to prove that. We've used this data to perform life cycle analysis. And out of these studies, we've understood that there is three main kind of benefits. First benefit is material saving. The second benefit we saw through LCA is that, in fact, you have a positive impact on pollution and air quality. The third benefit we saw is that, in fact, by retreading, you decrease the pressure on natural resource. The last point I would add is that, in fact, you decrease also waste, because when you retread, in fact, tires, you decrease the number of what we call end-of-life tires that you have to put in a scrap. So when you take all these benefits into account, and when you know that, in fact, you have people buy 180 million truck tires a year, the potential benefits of society are just huge.
Thanks, Antoine. And back to you, Claire, finally. You've issued a bit of a stark warning, saying that the retreading market will be badly hit if the cheaper single-life imports continue to dominate. What do you think should be done about this?
The key is a change in public policies. Ensuring that retreading survives in Europe will require a collective effort from policy makers.
Well, Claire and Antoine, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And also to Guy in the studio with us here. Well, join us next time when we'll be talking about the latest innovations in MBA education and digital transformation. Bye-bye for now.